What I had to do, I had to learn how to take off me and put on him, and I had to serve. I had to serve my wife as unto the Lord.
And he would ask me these one questions. He would say, well, "What you do all day?" And then he would say this one statement. Welcome back to Better Together with
Dennis
and Lonnie C. You are in our home.
We back. We
in
are
our
back.
home.
Welcome back to our home.
Yes. We are so happy to have you with us and so glad you're taking out this time to tune in with us. We really appreciate all those who have been supporting us for so many years now. Either it's been on Anchor FM or Apple or whatever.
Or Spotify.
There you go.
Thank you so much for being supportive, and we appreciate you. And we're in this for the long haul.
Yes.
And so we just ask that you pray for us and also support us in doing this effort, because this is all God, and we're just here to do His kingdom work and just be a blessing in regards to marriage.
Definitely,
family and
singleness and relationships,
personally, and everything that the Lord tells us to do. We're going to be led to do that. So praise God. So,
and it's been fun doing it with you, baby.
Yeah, it's a good thing doing it. Doing it with somebody, doing it with your best friend.
Yay.
Doing it with your best friend.
Yeah, so what you see is what you get.
Hey, what you see is what you get. We don't put on airs. We don't, we're not cookie cutters. We are who we are. And, you like it or lump it, but we're going to be who we are, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yes. So we're happy that you're tuning in with us. And how can they, I guess we'll tell that at the end, how to get in, stay connected with us and everything like that. But we want to go ahead and just dive into the subject. The last one we did was We Over Me.
We Over Me.
That was a great one. And then we did talking about what God talks about with open marriages and things like that, because that seems to be a hot topic.
Yeah.
Now, so what are we going to talk about today, babe?
We're going to talk about, marriages that go on cruise control. Now, when we're talking about cruise control, when you're in your car and you're driving and you're doing cruise control, you push your button, and then you let the gas you let the car just, go with operating of a button, push of a button and do that. And one thing about when you do cruise control on a car, it takes more gas. It takes more of your gas and everything, and more, more miles per gallon.
Okay.
Right. But the cruise control we're talking about is letting complacency creep in.
Yeah, that's a dangerous spot to be in.
Yeah.
We can attest that we've had some times where we've gone into cruise. We're going to discuss that even further. Mm-hmm. But before we jump into that, we always talk about dates. We are so into about investing in your marriage and making sure that you date. And we've been married for maybe 22 years. September. So it's actually our 22nd year of marriage. But and we still like each other. We still actually date each other.
Yeah, you can love somebody but not like them. And so we believe in dating each other, and so we believe in carving out that time to spend time together.
Be intentional.
Be intentional. We got kids.
We have 3.
We have 3 kids.
Yes.
But at the same time, no excuse to not date.
And you can date on a budget. And that's one of the things, if you can see back there right behind hubby, if I'm pointing right here, we have a Reignite date box that we're preparing to. We'll be releasing that very soon. Coming soon.
Yes.
So you can get a subscription to that. So stay tuned to that.
Yes,
but the most recent date that we had, my hubby, he surprised me, and we went to Nashville. I had mentioned that I wanted to go to Nashville, Tennessee, but he took me to the National
Museum of African American Music.
It's a lot.
It was so good. It was so good, and so it had genres. Had African American music from different genres,
from slavery all the way to present.
Yeah, slavery all the way to present. How African Americans, how we took that from when we were taken or brought over here in America, and how we use that as an expression of who we are in our culture, and how it impacted hip hop and blues and
jazz and gospel and just
it was just the different genres that we had that we came across was just a blessing. It made you really appreciate the African American culture and what it provides to how it impacts music and how it impacts the culture.
Yeah.
It was good.
So it was just a good getaway.
Good.
I thank you so much for that. That was fun.
Yeah,
He has clips of me trying to rap. Now that was.
Oh, she's in the studio, y'all, just trying to rap, and
I didn't know none of the lyrics. I was just a hype person.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
It was crazy fun. But that was one of the things that we did. So let's get into it, babe. What you got about the cruise control? About keeping it out of cruise control.
Well, a lot of times with marriage is that we we have this mentality, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And so one thing you have to do is you have to continually to keep it fresh. Mm-hmm. Some people think that you're over the top. It don't take all that. It takes all that. It takes all that.
Yeah.
And I know we was talking about the 7-year itch.
Oh yeah.
We talking about the 7-year itch, and we talking about how at around your 7th year you start kind of getting complacent and start saying okay, well this is how it's gonna be. But at the same time, you have to be intentional about your spouse and everything. You have to be very intentional about what you do with your spouse, and you have to know that you both are evolving together. Like my wife, she's not the same person I married in 2001. She was younger. She wasn't a wife.
I wasn't
a wife. She'd never been a wife. Mm-hmm. And so when I married her, her values were different. Her needs were different. Her wants were different. My wants were different, and my needs were different. But as you evolve, and then you together for a amount of time, then you throw kids in there. Then it gets to the place where you go, because when you're single, you're selfish.
Single.
It's a selfishness involved. There's nothing wrong with being selfish.
Nothing wrong
with being single, being selfish, because you're devoted, to yourself and doing things for yourself. But when you have another person that's involved, and you bring in two different worlds. Like for instance, my wife her background is totally different from mine. She was, pretty much raised she was raised in a 2-parent household, mm-hmm. and with that, and she's raised in the suburbs. Mm-hmm. My wife, they were the Huxtables. I mean, just being honest, they sang, they
did all those things.
They was dancing, and
we still do that.
They still do
when
that.
We get together.
They hit 3-4 point harmony. All of them are talented. They either play the guitar or they sing, and they just talented. And so, they grew up. She grew up in a Christian household. She grew up in a solid Christian household. And so, with me, I didn't grow up in a Christian household. I didn't receive Jesus Christ as I didn't become a Christian until I was 19 years old. But it was, my household was broken, so to speak. And so, we didn't have a whole lot. We had family functions, but it wasn't the 2-parent household. The marriage situation was working because God was not in the household. Mm-hmm. So you figure you got a young man that comes from this household, and you got a young lady that comes from our household, and you're bringing those households together. Mm-hmm. That's you're colliding and bringing households together that they gotta get used to each other. They gotta it's an adjustment period. That's why when I know you, I want to get
no,
into
go ahead.
I know when before we even got when we got married, we wanted to actually wait until we had kids, because I really wanted to get to know my wife, because mm-hmm. I never lived with a woman. I never it was my first time. I wanted to really get to know her. And so, we just, and then it brought certain insecurities in there where I wasn't used to sharing those insecurities. And I had to she had to really find out who I really was. I had to find out what she really was.
And we're still finding out about each other. Yep. And just, I think, one thing about it is that I have this book here that I've been reading called Sacred Marriage. Very good book by Gary Thomas. If you're looking to invest in your marriage, it's really talking about just having that vertical relationship with God mm-hmm. first, and it strengthens your marriage.
Right.
But when we got married, it was a lot of your spouse is a full-length mirror to you. They can see you. You can't see yourself. Yep. So we were growing and developing and learning, and even like what you said with the 7-year itch. I remember around the 7th year of marriage. Yeah. I think we had one. We had our first son.
2000. That was 2000. Yeah. Caleb was in 7 years. Yeah, Caleb was about maybe 3. 2 or 3. Yeah, and then James hadn't come yet, but
he hadn't come yet.
Yeah,
but
so it was he wasn't born yet, but yeah. Go ahead.
We were going through those things of having a new baby in the house and managing all those things. And I remember calling at that time, the first lady at that time, and I'm like, I'm tired. I'm like, I am exhausted. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I felt like we didn't have a name to it. Like we're in cruise control or, we're kind of just coasting, just coasting. I felt like my prayer life had kind of slowed down because now I have this new baby, this little baby. I'm trying to run after him. And I think I might've been expecting James. It might've been around that time. And, you're just tired. I remember talking to my first lady. I talked to my doctor. I was like, why am I so tired? He was like, well, you have a little one at home and, and you're carrying, and there's so many things that are going on. And yes, that was around that 7-8 year mark where, you just like, we not like how we used to be when we first got married. It's just different now. We're balancing different things. I'm a mother now. You're a father now. There's a different aspect of that. And I just was having trouble. Like, it was like, when he got home, I was like, he wanted to, get all, get a little closer and all that. I was like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, I'm going to sleep. I'm just being completely honest with you. And that caused us a little friction. And he would I'm going to tell you this, and we're going to talk about it. You know where I'm about to go. Because I was for a long time as a stay-at-home mom, and he would go to work, and I would pack his lunches and all these different things. And anybody know on our podcast, we've talked about this before. And he would ask me these one questions. He would say, well, what'd you do all day? And then he would say this one statement. Well, look, you at home with what would you say that?
I would say,
in a relaxed environment.
I would say she's in a relaxed environment.
Ladies? A relaxed environment.
She's a relaxed environment.
Little kids running around. Are you pregnant?
Yeah. That didn't go well.
I would boil.
That didn't go well. That didn't go well.
I was like, well.
But it was.
But we didn't. I mean.
But it was my ignorance in that, because I'm thinking in my mind. I'm telling you what my mindset then is, that certain things weren't done at home, and then I would have to do it. But and I was like, well, could you take care of that? You know what I'm saying? Could you taking care of that? I mean, you're in a relaxed environment.
Oh.
But see, in my ignorance, you got to realize when you are a mom at home, and shout out to the mothers at home, you are a blessing. My wife's a blessing.
Mothers are.
When and so you're dealing with that situation. You're dealing with taking care of little ones all day. You're taking care of littles all day, and you have necessarily no adult interaction.
Right.
Mostly you're at home taking care of your kids, and you running around taking care of them, changing diapers, managing the home.
Nursing. One gets sick, you have a fever.
So
doesn't, all of those things. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So, that was my insensitivity for that. But, it took God to really get on me about that and say, hey, look, she's at home taking care of those kids. You at home working. Why don't you switch?
I mean, you're at work. You were working. And I think his whole thing is, I'm going out and I'm dealing with this world out here. Yeah. I got it where you're able to stay home, but it's a lot of work. And I remember like, man, what are you doing? And I had to also respect what he was doing at work, because I knew it was hard work for you going out. You had to travel, going through traffic at the time, and all these different things. We both had to respect what we brought to the table and to avoid being in cruise control, where you could start taking the very people that you love for granted. You're just like, you're here. I know you're going to always be here, and so be it, and don't appreciate what they bring to the table, whether they are home raising their children or they're out bringing the breadwinners. And even if it's flipped, if the woman's going out and the man's home, it's the same thing, and I think what really helped us, baby, was when you started coming home and started helping me with different things. It was like either giving the babies, baths, or that was a way. It wasn't just your speech. You were genuinely, when God spoke to you about it, you were genuinely starting to get more involved with, hey, she's tired. And I mean, and to be honest, to be completely honest, because we're going to keep it real, authentic, real, and transparent here. When he did that, I was more open as a wife sexually for him. I mean, let's just be real. I'm not gonna be open and sexually with you, and I'm trying to nurse, and I gotta go take a bath for the kids. I gotta pack this. I'm doing this. But when he took some of the stuff like loading the dishwasher or doing things like that, it makes a difference, fellas. I'm trying to give y'all some hints,
cheat codes
right now. If you have a wife that's home, and then there are mothers that are working and taking care of the home. That's double duty right there. So we're going to talk about some things about gender roles, because there are some women that like to mow the lawns. There are some women, men that like to cook and do different things. It's not based off of your gender, the things that you do in the household. Just letting you know that. So you can help out with giving the kids a bath, or, doing packing lunches, or helping with the homework. My husband knows, he can tell when I've tuned out. Like, he's like, okay, baby, come over here, let me help with the homework, or let me help, because I've had it. So just being in tune with that avoids being in cruise control. Because if you're coasting, you're just trying to just get through the day. You're just trying to survive to get through the day. And that's not the case. You're going to miss all those things that are happening in your marriage,
Yeah. And like the wife said, she talked about gender roles. And so what the Lord had to really break me of is getting in this mindset is that, only a woman's in the kitchen cooking, or only a woman, take care of the kids, and only a woman should know how to cook and things of that nature and stuff like that. And over the years that evolved for me. I had to grow from that. And I just believe that comes from a toxic spot, because one thing about you leading your household, man, you're not leading your household as a dictator. You're leading your household in partnership with your wife.
Yes.
And so that's the thing. And I had to really grow in areas, in regards to, what she's called to do and what she is, because she's my best friend, she's my partner. And so, yes, I lead the household and I am the head of the household, but also she's a helper to me in so many ways. But being a helper doesn't make you lower on the totem pole. It makes you more in partnership to bring the vision of the household to pass and lead stuff. So God had to really break me of that. Like the wife said, had to get to the place where I had to change my mindset, to be more of a servant. Philippians chapter 2, I'm gonna turn there, and we talked about in our previous podcast about serving and stuff like that. And so this Bible, the scripture says in Philippians chapter 2 verse 5, it says, let this mind be in you which is also in Christ. And he's talking about this mindset that Jesus had. And it says, who being in the form of God thought it not robbery to be equal with God. But watch this. He said he made himself of no reputation and took upon the form of a servant who was made in the likeness of men. So what Jesus do? Jesus stepped up. He stepped out and gave up his heavenly privileges to be put in human form. And he said what? He became of a form of a servant. You got to realize he became a man of no reputation. And so what I had to do, I had to learn how to take off me and put on him. And I had to serve my wife as unto the Lord. So I had to, so the mindset is to serve her. So when I come home and I'm tired, hey, I might be tired too, but she's tired too. So, hey, brothers, take one for the team.
Yeah.
It's called taking one for the team. It's taking one for the team and pick your battles. Take one for the team and help with those kids.
Yeah.
Take one for the team and go help dinner. Now, sometimes I'm going to be honest with you, I bring food home. I may not cook a lot of times, but I'll bring takeout. Baby, don't cook. I got takeout.
He will say it.
You know what I'm saying? And so my job is my heart is to make sure that I serve her and also take stuff off of her. You know what I'm saying? And so, so she can have, and her job is, we do that
and
together.
It's an ebb and flow, because I feel the same way. I want to make sure, even when the kids were little, and we may have discussed this in another podcast on this briefly, is that I wanted to make sure that you came home and I wasn't looking a mess, or, the house was, semi, we had the toys cleaned up, whatever else. We try to, look, the whole upstairs might look like a jungle, but downstairs was a spot where you could come in and just kind of lay your head. That was before one Father's Day we did his man cave for him. So now he has a man cave. So now I just make sure that he has a plate. If I'm getting my hair done or something like that, he knows he's going to have a warm plate available for him, sitting in the microwave ready or in the oven, whatever it is, but he's going to have a plate of food there if he had a late night and we had to eat before. But he's going to have his food set, have his lunch prepared for the next day. And that's just something that's what I've always wanted to do. Your husband may not want you to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that I like to give to my husband, just to make sure to honor him in a way. Hey, baby, you worked all day. I want to make sure that you have that plate of food, prepared for you. So it's different little things to do to keep you and avoid you from being out of cruise control. Doing those extra little special things keeps you out of cruise control, because you want to make sure that you're always valuing the person that God has blessed you with. Don't ever take it for granted. Seriously, don't ever take that person for granted, because life is so precious and you want to just let that person know and don't want them to feel like they're a piece of furniture. Right. Just, and he'll be there. That's not, and people start feeling like that. And one thing that I loved about how Gary Thomas talks about with the 7 years, he mentioned about it, was that it's neuroplasticity. And it's something about the brain waves that you start developing different habits in your brainwave in those, it's like the 7 and 10 year mark right in there. And those are the ones that kind of build the foundation of your marriage. So a lot of times you see people get to 7 year inch and start saying, I don't love her no more. I don't love him no more. We fell out of love and all these things. No, it's just that you've hit some grooves and some valleys and things in your marriage. Don't give up. Don't quit. Keep fighting for your marriage, because you can't get in that cruise control. And the minute you feel that gear shift, hey, no, we gotta reconnect. We gotta do something. Whatever it is, do it.
and I'm gonna tell you something. I can tell when we ain't dated.
Oh my goodness. We do for another one soon.
We do it for another one. I can tell when we've been married. So true. We've been married long enough where I know. I tell my wife we gotta go on a date.
We gotta go. You just come in we gotta go.
Because I can tell her, a kind of a disconnect. You know what I'm saying? And so I can tell when it's a disconnect. I can tell when it's fatigue. Because it's a time we sit in the house and just chill. But there's times I'm like, we need to get out and have some us time.
Yeah.
And it's some time where we reconnect, because dating reconnects you to your spouse.
Yeah.
Let me say it again. Dating, don't stop dating your wife. Yeah. Don't stop dating your spouse. Dating reconnects you to your spouse. I'm telling you, complacency will kill your marriage. It will kill your marriage, because when you're on cruise control, when you're thinking, she'll be there or he'll be there, and so with the dating reconnects you, because it lets you know where your person's at, where your wife is at, where your spouse is at,
data.
And you're collecting data, because you're still collecting data. So you're still getting to know your wife or your spouse. You know what I'm saying? But it reconnects you. But when you're not dating, when you just kind of like two ships in the ocean, you coming home, you got the kids, you're taking kids here and there.
Oh my goodness!
You know what I'm saying?
We have been in seasons like that.
Yeah, you're going to work, and you kind of y'all just see each other. y'all see each other at the table, or y'all just kind of see each other. Y'all get in the bed, y'all become roommates, and then you don't know what your wife is going through or your husband's going through, because y'all not connecting. So dating reconnects you, and it keeps it fresh. It keeps the romance and the love fresh in it, and it keeps you all from evolving away from each other. It keeps you It keeps you evolving with each other. Because if you're evolving apart, then you're gonna hear this word irreconcilable. I'm saying it right. Irreconcilable differences, and because y'all living separate lives. Because y'all not dating, y'all not communicating, y'all not keeping it fresh, y'all not having fun. Because you can have fun without spending a lot of money.
On the budget.
And you can have fun when you still have kids. You know what I'm saying? You can have fun, but you have to make time. Carve out that time for you and your spouse.
And your children are watching you, so that's something you want them to definitely see. That mommy and daddy love each other. They love and care for each other. Let me also say this, just as a little side nugget. Even when you do date with your spouse and you're spending that time with them, put the phones away.
Yes. Please.
Put the phones away, because that's an outside distraction.
Yeah.
I could be sitting here literally, like for example, we did this real quick. See how this looks. Put your phone out real quick, babe. We are here with each other, but are we really here?
Nope.
Because we're on our phones, and this right here, this little object has taken so much. It steals so much of our time, and then our watch and beep, and we're looking down here, and we're doing this. And there have been times I have been guilty of it. He's talking to me, and I'm like, well, hold on, let me see right here. So I'm making this, who's ever on this side is more important than him. And I don't want him to ever feel like who's on this side, unless I just say, baby, let me text this person real back. Hold your thought. Let me text this person back, and let me hold that thought.
Yep.
Or put this down. You're more important than giving each other eye contact. What I see people, they go out on dates, and I see them sitting at tables, but their heads are down. Now, they know every crevice on each other. They're doing this the whole time, texting, and they don't even get up and do communication. We have to communicate. That is so key. Like we said, it's collecting data the whole time. So,
And then you know, another thing too.
I'm checking the time, baby.
We
good?
Okay. We good. And another thing too is, you know, you don't want complacency to get to the place where when you start living separate lives, you start going out with a person, like you start, and then what Satan do, because I'm gonna read the scripture. I'm just gonna say it. It's Ephesians 4:27. It says, "Neither give place to the devil."
Okay.
The devil has place when you have holes in your marriage, and so one thing we do is one thing we always do. Me and my wife always do checkups. We always check-ins, like, hey, what's going on? It's nothing my wife don't know about what I'm dealing with,
Same
or
here.
where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Mentally,
just mentally, where you at? What's going on? You know what's up? You know, we always try to, and like I said, spending time with each other is vital. You should be spending a lot of time with your spouse. You shouldn't be spending a lot of time with your boys over your wife. You shouldn't be spending a lot of time with your girls over your wife. And I'm gonna say this: don't be talking about your husband to your girls, and don't be talking about your wife to your boys.
Right.
Because one thing about it is, and I'm gonna say this, and maybe somebody might not like what I'm saying. You never know if you talking to your girlfriends about your husband, then that girlfriend that you don't know, that you don't trust, might try to get with your husband, and vice versa. Husband may get with your wife, and then there it is. You open yourself up to all kinds of stuff. We got unfaithfulness, infidelity, and everything. Because I'm telling you, you always gonna have to battle in your marriage and for your marriage.
Yes.
It takes work. You cannot. It's when it's cruise control, that doesn't work. Cruise control don't work.
It's a loophole.
In marriage it's work, and we tell people, we tell young married couples when they so in a hurry to get married, I'm like, man, look, before you say I do, get to know that person, and also go through counseling. Counseling will reveal. Godly counsel will reveal everything that you need to know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting a plug in here for us, but I'm just saying.
And it revealed things to be great discussion topics of things you may not even thought to talk about.
Right.
And like we get into when we're having and we tell people this is not Disney. I'm just gonna be real, because I think it's that, we're gonna get married. That's a day. Let's not get wrapped up in the flowers, the dresses, the bridesmaids, and all that. You want to build, and it's not even it's a whole day, but I'm just saying
it's one day.
One day. And it's a beautiful day, but most importantly, you want to build a great foundation to have a great marriage. We had bells and whistles for our marriage, our wedding, but we didn't have everything that we wanted at the time. We did what we could afford, but I'm looking like I really want to more invest. We're not perfect. Invest in our marriage than anything. Yes, we sign up for marriage retreats. We go and invest. We read books. These are different things, different tools. You have to invest to keep you out of coasting and out of cruise control, because it's a dangerous spot. I'm telling you, we've been there. We have been there.
And cruise control, and thank God. Thank God for people that we know and trust, that can kind of pull our coattail and say, hey, what's going on with that? We're sensitive to each other to say we need to work on this and work on that, because one thing about it is when you're trying to do it in your own strength. You got to keep it. You got to make sure you reconnect with each other, and also do it in the Lord and be very sensitive to each other's emotions and feelings.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, that wraps it up. Time always flies when you're having fun. So,
Yeah.
well, we definitely want to make sure that you stay tuned with us, and we're so glad. Where could they reach out to us at, baby?
You can reach out to us on to the email better TWA2gether@gmail.com. You can catch us on Instagram or Facebook,
YouTube now.
YouTube. You can definitely reach out to us. You can support us on Patreon.
Yes.
We would love your support to be a blessing to us to keep this ministry going. But we're doing this for the glory of God. We love doing this, and we love doing this with each other because this gives us time to spend time with each other as well as so you can see what's going on. And
yes.
So being open, being authentic, real, and transparent.
Yeah, there you go.
Work of art. I know. Authentic, real, and transparent. Yep.
Oh my goodness. And also catch us on crystalraintv.com. We're on every Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time and 5 p.m. Whatever. It's at 5 o'clock p.m. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in with us. We're Better Together with
Dennis
and Lonnie C. Be blessed.
Be blessed.